1990 before the war, Christopher is giving his math paper and his sister Michelle is waiting for him. No one else is in the hall except him, and his teacher asks him to finish the paper quickly. Hearing this, he leaves the unfinished paper and leaves with Michelle. Michelle tells him that she is about to join college and hope your test went well. He tells her, I am not interested in going to college and I came to give this test at the request of my parents. Christopher then bumps into a soldier who scolds him for wearing a robot shirt. Michelle takes him away and tells him that your professor has told her that no one has scored such good marks in science till date. She says you have to go with me, but Chris says I will think about it. Chris says whether I join college or not, but he will come to meet his sister. Then comes the news on TV that the children's favorite robot cartoon has now been discontinued forever. Then along with the anchor comes Mr. Ethan, the founder of Center Technology, who introduces his new robot technology to the world. He says he has never let robots dominate him because they are very different from humans who only think about themselves. Walt Disney introduced robots in 1955, and these robots helped humans a lot in the early days. Then the robots started changing themselves and started rebelling against the humans. Humans fought them, killing 6,000 soldiers and endangering more than half of the population. To stop this long war, Ethan Skate created Neurocaster, a gadget that linked the human brain to robotic machines and drones. With the help of Neurocaster, humans quickly take over the world and imprison robots. After that, robot leader Mr. Peanut signed a peace agreement with the president and Ethan. Neurocaster allows the human mind to be in two places at the same time. Ethan prefers it as freedom and asks people to be a part of the Center network. 1994, after the war, we see Michelle removing trackers from her legs and Ted in a robotic body enters the room. Michelle tells him she is going to school and Ted offers her an after-school activity, but she refuses to join him. Ted says this isn't an option. If you want to live in my house, you have to do some work. We see Ted sleeping using Neurocaster. Ted runs a foster home for children and he wants to get money from the government by making students do activities. Michelle drops a guitar, angering Ted, but she leaves saying you stole all the things from the exclusion zone. She goes to the school and in the class, their teacher asks them to wear Neurocaster. Michelle refuses to wear it and the principal tells her that it's important to use it for the 9th class. Michelle says she wants to live in reality and the principal says she would like to talk with her parents. Michelle tells her that her family died in a car accident. Michelle remembers her childhood memories with her brother Chris. They are playing on the beach and Chris is scared, but Michelle calms him down. Coming back from her visions, Michelle returns home and finds Ted still sleeping. While sleeping, she dreams about her accident when her parents and brother died and she was alone in the hospital. She wakes up panting and sees someone moving outside. She goes to look with a knife and a flashlight and tries to wake Ted, but he doesn't respond. She goes outside and sees the robot. She fears and runs inside. She calls out to Ted, but he is unconscious and Michelle hides under the bed. The robot walks inside the room but doesn't find her just then. He uplifts the bed and finds her. Michelle asks it to stay away and the robot tells her not to fear. The robot tries to speak, but its voice is messed up due to the malfunction. Michelle fixes his wire and then the robot picks up the sibling's photo and tells her that it's her brother's robot. Michelle tells the robot to go back and tries to take her photo, causing the bot to crash into the closet. The noise wakes Ted up, but before Michelle hides the bot, Ted comes into the room. Ted thinks Michelle brought him along and threatens Bot. Bot throws him away and asks Michelle to run. Ted again stops him only to get beaten by the bot. Ted tells the bot he is going to call the police, but just before he can tell them, Michelle makes him unconscious by electrocution. They attempt to flee in Ted's car, but she doesn't know how to drive. Ted's bot comes out screaming it's her mother's car, but she drives over the bot and leaves while Ted watches them leaving. They stop near the restricted area to change the tire. She finds that the spare wheel is also damaged and sees the bot going inside the zone. She walks him back and asks him, how do you reach here and find her? The bot reveals that he is her brother Christopher. Michelle doesn't believe it as she knows that her brother died in the car crash. Chris tells her that he's alive and imprisoned by the bespectacled doctor. Michelle remembers the hospital scene when a bespectacled doctor named Dr. Amherst told her about Chris's death. They open the map and Chris points out the place where he is imprisoned. Michelle says it's a prison of robots and it's impossible to get out, so how can we get inside? She finds a box in the trunk which was sent from the exclusion zone. He thinks that whoever sent this P.O. box may have entered the exclusion zone, which would require them to go to Mexico. Now they both travel by train to Mexico and then reach the same P.O. box address. Chris sees a man sitting there like a drug addict wearing a Neurocaster. Chris tries to wake the man, but Michelle stops him, saying they can get in trouble. In fact, people have used this technology so much that people have started doing their work with robots and sitting at home themselves. Chris says that it has become a disease and his mission is to save the next generation, for which he has to shut down Ethan's company. They hide when they see a truck coming there, and as the truck stops, Keats gets out of it. Keats opens a locker there on which they both read the name of the P.O. box, meaning that Keats is the man who goes to the exclusion zone. A Neurocast user arrives there to take his parcel. Keats gives him the parcel, a gun, and asks him to pay $15,000 in cash. The man points a gun at him and Keats acts surprised at his actions, asking him not to do this. As the man doesn't pay and decides to leave, an electric shock causes his bot to die. Keats's bot Herman comes out of the truck and they leave to hide the bot's body while the siblings enter the truck. Back at the center's restricted area where Michelle ditched Ted's car, another Neurocast user, Colonel Bradbury, finds Keats's address and smiles. The group arrives at Keats' facility where he hides illegal weapons and logs. Siblings hide in a box and they take the boxes inside. Inside, Keats finds the fridge isn't working because it is unplugged and asks Herman about the cord. Herman denies it, but as Keats tells him not to lie, he accepts his mistake. During the argument, the siblings come out of the box and start sneaking around. Shears mistakenly touches Big Mouth Fish, and hearing the sound, Keats and Herman start looking for them. Before Michelle and Chris can escape, they find them. Keats asks them why they are here and who are they. Michelle tells him they want to go to the exclusion zone, but Keats refuses to take them and asks them to leave. Suddenly someone breaks into the facility and surprise, he is Colonel Bradbury. Keats asks Michelle to stay quiet and be his deaf sister while their bots hide. Brad finds them and asks Michelle to surrender and give him the bot. Keats tries to make him a fool, but as Herman attacks Brad, he pushes Keats forward. He then attacks the bots because of the bots purge war, which Ethan has banned along with the government. Keats and Michelle try to stop him, but the Colonel's reflexes are sharp and he overpowers them. Brad tries to kill Keats, but Michelle appears with her bot to surrender. Brad tries to deactivate Chris, but Herman drops the crane on him, allowing them to escape. They try to escape with the train trolley, but Keats is too late to find the key. Meanwhile, Brad also comes out of the crane. As they all leave, Brad attacks them and captures them again. Brad tells Chris that he will kill him with joy, but Herman attacks him and Chris also joins him. Michelle runs the truck over Brad, and the falling debris destroys his bot. The group comes out of the tunnel, leading them to the exclusion zone. Keats gets very angry seeing this and yells at Michelle and says we can't cross this wall for 10 years. Suddenly they hear the growling voice and see scavenging robots that survive by using the parts of other robots. Keats says maybe robots torture humans here and starts to open garage's door. Michelle explains that she wants to help her brother who is imprisoned by a doctor because he operates Cosmo and don't know where he is. Herman asks her where this doctor lives and Michelle says that he lives on Tabletop Mountain, which is 300 miles away. Herman can take on multiple forms and gets into a giant robot. Herman puts the three of them in the van and continues traveling by putting the van on his shoulder. They meet up with a band of robots in the exclusion zone, led by Mr. Peanut. Their journey leads them to uncover the dark truth about Center. The Center called a truce, but then Ethan enslaved humanity using his technology, causing humans to stray from their purpose and hate the robots, making the bots evil forever. It is revealed that Christopher has been kidnapped by Skatum, who exploited Christopher's exceptional intellect by integrating his consciousness into Center's Neurocaster technology. This technology was instrumental in giving humans an advantage during the war against the robots, as we know before. Determined to rescue her brother, Michelle infiltrates Center's headquarters with the help of Keats and Herman while the other robots wage war with Skate's drone army. She discovers Christopher in a comatose state, his consciousness trapped within the Neurocaster system. In a poignant reunion within the virtual realm, Christopher expresses his desire to be freed from his exploited existence. Respecting his wishes, Michelle disconnects him, resulting in his physical body dying. During the battle, Keats almost loses Herman when his large robot form gets destroyed by a drone robot. However, a miniature version of Herman emerges from the wreckage. Christopher's death triggers the shutdown of Center's drone operations, effectively dismantling Skate's control and ending the exploitation of the Neurocaster technology. In the aftermath, Skate is arrested, and the world begins to rebuild from the devastation wrought by the war and corporate greed. Michelle then broadcasts to the world exposing how the Neurocaster technology has affected people's lives. The film concludes with a subtle hint that a part of Christopher's consciousness may still reside within Cosmo, as suggested by a reflective shot in the final scene. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing videos.